Um, can you all see my screen? Hello, can anyone see my screen? Please, can anyone see my screen? You can just
Like, it's the simple, Right.
can anyone see my screen?
No.
Oh wow.
No.
Okay, all right. How about now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, all right. Okay, my screen was freezing a little, but it's back now. Okay, let me just switch let me switch to what we were working on the last time. So in the last time, I was talking about how we could just publish our our pages that we've done on our VS Code and we've pushed to GitHub if we want to publish it and just have a live URL of it that we can just use and share. So I was talking about I used an example of the assignment that we did and just published that to see how it looked like. Alright, so how I did that the other time was I just came to this settings for those that weren't in the last class and there were some issues that was why we could not that was why we could not um post the recorded video. So let me just switch. Okay, so where I was on before was the code, all the codes, and where we have all our files. So wherever we have our files, let me just load a little. Okay, so here, and just go to your settings. Once you're on your settings page, you can just scroll down and you see this section here called pages. So you can just click on pages. Once you click on pages, it's going to give you an information about all the pages that you have published. And we did this example the last time, so that's why it's showing us that our site is live at this URL. So we can click on it to see how it looks like. So but if we haven't done it at all, this here will be empty, it won't show anything, and then to access, this will be selected by default by deploying from a branch. Here will show none. If we had not deployed anything at all, here would have been none. So if you wanted to deploy, you just click on this and click on this main. Now this main is depending on the number of branches that you have. By default, whenever you're creating a repository on GitHub, it will always default. GitHub will always give you a default branch, the first one, which is called main. So this will always be there as your branches. And if you maybe you're working in a team, or you're working independently, and you actually have like a feature that you want to add, or some things that you want to test, but you're scared, maybe you don't want your code all your codes to crash, so you can create a different branch. You can call it test, and just do all whatever testing that you want to do on that branch. So the number of branches that you have will show up here. Everything will be showing up there. So you can always just click on it, on anyone that you want to publish, and you can see how it looks like, whatever changes that you made on that particular branch. So everything will be listed there. So for now, assuming we have not published any pages at all, it will just be main. So it will be none, and you have to click on the main. So once you click on this main, you just click on save. We already have um our our repository live published already on this main. That's why it's not showing save at all, because we've already published it. But I think we had not, it should have been clickable, and we'll just click save. So for now, this other side, we don't really need anything from here, unless we have like a custom domain. Maybe you have your own personal domain, or for instance, now what you were working on was a you're working on maybe your personal portfolio now, and you want to have your domain to be like your name. um let's say for instance, johndoe.com. Now that's what you want to be, or me now, yusuf.com or yusuf.portfolio. We go to where they are buying domain names, like maybe like Namecheap, or GoDaddy. You can buy your domain name there, register it, then you can just come and put it here that that's what I want to show whenever anyone goes to maybe yusuf.com.portfolio or yusuf.portfolio. Whenever they go to their URL, they click on it, it shows them the codes that are in this repository. That's just what this custom domain is. So it's not going to be showing them Falytom at github.io, but rather your own custom name that you've registered somewhere else. So that's just the whole gist about this. So okay, once you've saved here, you just go back to your code. Once you go back to your code, allow it to load. So once you go back to your code, this place that is showing a green, please can you all still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So here that is showing success. That time that you're first publishing your site, it won't show success, but rather it's just going to show a yellow icon. Once you click on it, it's going to show you the progress report. um that is working on this one, is working on this one. It will just show you how everything is it show that it's deploying, it's compiling. So it's just show you the update here. So once these three are done, it's just going to change to success. That means okay, it has successfully deployed your repository to your page or for your page. So most of the time, so it doesn't automatically change. You will have to refresh your page for the changes to show. So once that is done and you've refreshed, you've seen that oh this is success, you can always just come down and it shows you the deployment that you have, that oh this is what you've published, these are your pages that you've published. So you can always just click on it, it will take you to a different, it will open a different tab for it, deployment slash GitHub pages, so you can see all your pages. So once you're there, you can always just get the URL and copy it, click on it, and it's just going to open. So that's all about the GitHub pages. It's very simple. Then I think another thing that I mentioned um a while back then was wherever you want to your main entry HTML, like your landing page, what you want to show once everyone comes to your site, they're just coming to your site, like for instance yusuf.com. Now they're clicking on it, they're coming there, that HTML needs to be outside. So your other folders, other files, other HTML can be inside a different folder, but GitHub will be looking for this index.html to always be looking for it. So it should always be at the root direct. It shouldn't be inside any folder, just outside like this. So yeah, I think I someone asked that question the other time, so I just addressed it. That's all for this GitHub. Then the next one was things like Netlify and Vercel. But once we are getting maybe into JavaScript, I think we'll start working with Netlify. But for now, we can still start with this GitHub pages and just get familiar with it. But we'll progress to Netlify and then Vercel before we are done with React. We would have used both of them. Right, that's just what I just wanted to just talk about a little before um, I hand over to the cast to start the CSS class for today. Uh, yeah, thank you everyone. Is there any question? Okay, since no question, let me stop sharing my screen so that Dockers can take over. Okay, Zainab Diko, you raise your hand. Okay, yeah, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, Zainab.
Good evening. Sorry, I've not been following the class like that.
Okay,
I was trying to push to GitHub due to my busy schedule.
okay,
It kept on showing like I'm having too much thing to push at the same time. I don't know. It's been a long time I've done that. I don't know what causes that. Could it be due to the saving or I'm not getting something?
okay. Once we're done with this class, can you just screenshot what the errors you're having? You can just enter my DM and just send it to me so we can just look at it.
Okay,
Or you
okay,
can,
I'll do that.
yeah, no problem. All right,
Thank you very much.
yeah, no problem. All right, let me stop sharing my screen.
really rush things with CSS for today, but um, we'll work with, we'll do something on CSS today based on our time we have left. So, excuse me. Starting from this, okay. Before we move forward, if I start sharing my screen or anything, I want to do a basic definition of what we call CSS or anything. When I do that, so I remember when I was explaining HTML, I said, who can remind me? How should I put this question? Okay, I asked the question during that period that um yeah, what makes the human body like the body? What is the major thing that makes the human body a body? Who can remind me what we said is that?
The skeleton.
Exactly. So we liken this HTML to the skeleton. So now what should I say beautifies the human body?
The flesh, I guess.
Yeah, the flesh, the skin, all of them. So now basically that's what CSS is. So like now, then what gives the human body its functionality, like the functionality of you moving.
The brain. The organ.
Uh, well, I don't want to say it's not right. Nonetheless, it's not right. It's one in biology class. But thank you very much. Yeah. So basically, this is how you do anything that comes to front end. You say the skeleton, your structure is your HTML. What beautifies whatever you see is your CSS. And then what has functionality to your website where you click on the button takes you somewhere or you submit. Just little functions that happens in your website are your JavaScript. I'm just giving you in a layman simple term. So when you have this idea behind your back, you understand what the essence of CSS is. Because if you check all what we did with HTML, we're just doing the structure, like write everything. So the A should come before B, B should come before line. So we want the header first, then we have the main before we have the footer. We're basically just giving the structure of how things should be. So now we want to now give those little structures that we have, we want to make it beautiful. So that's basically what we did today. Now come to CSS class. So what is CSS? Like I said, CSS make your website looks amazing. All those time we come to make website, we just see some color rolling underneath. You see some beautiful transition. What keeps you captivated in the screen and like, oh, this is just fine. That's the work of CSS. Yeah. CSS is like a makeup artist that does a lot of wonders to your face. Basically, that's CSS. Now, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Remember HTML? We said HTML is hypertext markup language. Then CSS is Cascading Style Sheets. So, and it's like the clothing for our HTML. I said it. When HTML, while HTML builds the structure of your web page, which is the bone, CSS makes it look good by adding style, the art rate, the flesh. With CSS, you can add color, adjust the font size, and even position things exactly where you want them to be on your page. Now, how does CSS work? CSS work by selecting part of your HTML and applying style to it. Think of it like giving instruction A, make all the heading blues or add some space between the paragraph. Don't to give an explanation of this yet because we're coming to it definitely. But this is basically what CSS does. CSS is just like you telling it, okay, all my headers I want you to be color wine and all my paragraph I want you to be magenta. something like that. I want you to be as big as possible, and I want you to stay in the center and all that. Basically, that's it. So, why is CSS important? Imagine a plain HTML text. Okay, now look at your project that you were given to do um for your HTML. Just look at how plain it is. Please, if we give that to someone, I don't want to put I don't think, but basically let me come and see because imagine giving that to someone that you have done a website. What do you think the person's reaction will be? Nobody knows who will react. Imagine you giving out your final HTML project that we just did, that you just submitted, and you asked to give it out to someone that you have done something. What do you think that person's reaction will be?
The person will not be wowed because it looks plain.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, that is what we are saying. CSS is important. So knowing how way the person's reaction will just be so plain. Now we don't want to use CSS to touch it up, add some coloring, arrange it and all that. It makes it very attractive and makes even that way you highlight the important thing you want the person to read on and all that. And so whether you want to make a button red or you want to add the background image or you want to make things responsive for phone, CSS is what makes it possible. So everything that you see, those websites that you see that is looking, this website is you see it very good on phone, and at the same time when you open it on system, it's looking all good. All this trouble is done by CSS. So basically all this is done by CSS. So you need to know what um CSS is, and it is very crucial and very important. So that is that for definition. Now CSS in proper. So we said CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it is the language used to style and lay out web pages. While HTML is used to structure the content of a web page, CSS is what makes it look attractive by controlling colors, font, spacing, and layouts. Basically, when we say layout, remember we were giving us a side. We said a side has to we want it to stay in a small angle like this. How it stays there is what you use CSS to do. I'm very sorry, I had a very wonderful day. I don't want to call it stressful, but a very wonderful day. So bear with me. Then what was I saying? Okay, aside has this. Remember when you were doing your HTML, even if you write aside, everything still just come head to toe. It does not stay in the side as you want it to. But how it stays in the side, how it knows it should stay in this side, and this one knows it should stay in this side, is basically CSS. CSS is one that does all the wonders that you see on your website. So why is CSS important? Consistency, applying the same style over multiple page, design flexibility, easily customize the look and feel of a website, the separation of concern, it keeps design CSS separated um, from the content. Now, example of a CSS. So this is basically example. So I'm going to be using our captions exam. Yeah, I remember we said there are some basic things we put in the header of the style. So I think we have. Let me go live. Just want to work a small drama for us to see the whole thing. Okay. So I have the template of our assignment that we just finished, and I think I'm going to touch about me. So about me is what an H1. Hopefully, I don't want another H1, but it doesn't matter. So I don't want to touch the H1. So you pick the H1, you open this. Am I correct like this? Did I get that correctly? Yeah, finish the and I want it to have a color of, is there wine? No wine. There should be magenta. Yeah. So we want all that. Yep. Can you see that I've changed color? So basically this is what we use CSS to do. So that is what we just did there. We said here's an example of how CSS can change the look of the HTML. So we have a yellow CSS and we put the color to be blue. Said it should be text center. Okay, let's do something like that. So instead of it trying to be there, we can come all the way here and tell it text align. We want it to be center. And yeah, see, we start giving life a bit to the person. Let me use another red color for you. Yeah, let's see. I don't. Okay, brown. Yep, that's better. So, and basically this is what CSS is doing for us, helping us see, and that is it. So in the example, like I just said, and I've just done, the H1 tag is tagged to have a blue text, and I've added it to center, and a specific font. We didn't do a specific font, so let's see. Should we give it a font? Yes. So we say a font family. Which one should we be? Okay, let's go for this. And yeah, can you see that it's now different from the default that others had? That's now benefit of CSS. A CSS is more than just styling tools. It is what brings life and personality to your website. Yeah, we will explain the main reason why CSS is indispensable for modern websites. Like, know this. Let me sound this as a warning. What make you stand out on your website is knowing how to do a very good CSS work, knowing how to align things, knowing how to bring whatever design your designer gives to you to life, to preview perfect using your CSS. This is your claim. Minus functionality, which we know that is one essence that is it. How beautiful your work is what attracts you. Now, when you go and get it in the market, we have our taste quite alright, but you have to see something that attracts yourself before you go for it. You can't see something of a dull color and will say you want to go for it. I'm very sure you will not. So what attracts you is basically what is looking good. So one thing you need to know very well is your CSS. It is a very key structure. Your HTML, however you arrange it. Now your CSS is how it should look beautiful. How you like, just imagine walking out in the street naked. Just know how weird that is, by the way. But now you dressing up like makeup artist and done all this thing here, your heels, your hair is all shining and your dress. No, all those beautification, that's a CSS to your website. That's majorly it. So you need to hold that very importantly. Very important. So what are the benefits? Like I said, it improves visual appeal. CSS transform plain HTML into visual appealing design like that. By using CSS, we can easily add color, layout, fonts, and animations to your website. So let us see. Do we have anything like a button? Don't think we have a button. So let's click a button, something. Okay, about me is an H2. So let's say all H2 should be color blue. And H2 should be color blue. let's do the weird color. Oh no, two things. Let's do dark, dark olive green, and I want it to have a background color of dark green, and I want it to be. No, I don't want this. It's too. Okay, let's switch it. Choosing is the background color of dark olive green, and, and dark green. Then I want all of the text to be align center, and I want it to be way bigger than it is already. To the font size of 12. Yep. And there we go. Every H2 definitely turns to that. And I don't think I enjoy this dark forever. So I think I'll just going to pull this out. And yep, this way better. Slightly better. Oh, to center. Let's remove center. Just leave it at the side. Slide that on my about. Good. Now, at least you can tell that with the change of color and bigger fonts, that way you could tell that, oh, all these are key headings, like these are sub headings, and they have things inside. So basically, this is what it is all about. And you see, CSS is already giving us small visual play, unlike when we just have it in the plain set. And it's already giving us a little bit of change. So, because we've not done much on it. Now, so, oh, we wanted to do a button. Let's add the button somewhere here. Let's do the button. Let's say add button. Now we said I want to give the button some. Okay, let's just see the default, and we have our add button here. You can see how plain it is, but we want to give it something different now. And give it something very appealing to those kind of buttons that you see. I want to first give it the background color of good and color today. Maybe a color of dark blue. Okay. Since it's dark blue, the text should be white. Right. Now, that's one down. We want the font size to be 16 pixels. So font size, that means it should get all bolder than that. And to have some padding in there, should have some spacing in between it. It should be like 2M. That should be very big. Yep. I don't want that. Let's do 0.5. 0.8. Good. I don't want this border. I don't like it. I want none. I like the border edges to be very curvy. And I want 20 pixels. Good. What else am I missing? So basically, can you see that difference? So this is what CSS is. Now just imagine leaving it as that that button that it was there, very unattractive. Let me just make a sample very quick. It's chicken. Oh, you can remember how it looks like. Right. Let me just quickly do this. So imagine leaving your button as ugly as this, and then CSS is helping us bring it to life and making it look very different, and at least you know that, oh, this is a button, something like that. That is what CSS is. One benefit, which is we said it improves the visual appeal. Now, responsive for all design. That is one key thing again for it. CSS helps us that the way you sit on laptop is different from the way you sit on your phone. And being responsive is that the website should be able to accommodate phone size, laptop, and tab. So with CSS, you can ensure that all your website looks great on desktop, laptop, and mobile phone. Media query allow you to create responsive design that adjusts based on the screen size. We will definitely get to media query, but the whole bottom line of media query is that you are trying to target when it's at this screen size. Each screen size has a size. I think for phone, no, from tab is from 768 pixel to 1023 pixel. That is for tab. So anything down is for phone. Then for laptop is from 1024 pixel to upward. But now there's now steps. So 1024 pixel is for small laptop. 1440 pixel is for mostly 40 inches laptop size. Then you have 2000 2450 pixel, yeah, for TV and large screen systems like that. So you need to know all the size. And one thing with your website is your website should be able to look great right from phone down to the largest screen size, and that is how it should be, and that is what we know. So CSS helps us to make sure that your website adjusts from the large screen size down to the other one like that. So due to this, that is what CSS helps with. Now, flexibility means your user have a seamless experience regardless of the device they use. So I should be able to that, okay, I'm building something on my system and I need to step out and I want to continue. You can easily switch to your phone and you can still flow with it. Not the one that you now have to be scrolling left and right with your phone. Then you get tired. That's because that website is not responsive enough to your phone screen. So for better website performance, by separating style from HTML, CSS reduces the size of a web page, leading to faster loading time. Using extra CSS file allows browser to catch them, improving performance across multiple pages. Now, out, yeah, hmm? Yeah, I think thank you, Yusuf. I mentioned that I will get into details more of what each of these is later on, but we are just trying to explain the benefit of it. So usually why I'm not explaining much and I'm just touching it because we will have to take each of those things one after the other, the same way we did with HTML. Where we're now picking them one after the other. So I just want you to understand what is the basic, what is the whole essence of this CSS and that little CSS thing is about. So that is it. Now, before I do this, there are three ways in doing CSS to your work. Let me just show you first, then I will explain something. It's basically here. So, okay, let me just go through it. CSS to an HTML file. CSS is used to style and give a website already all that, but there are three different ways to have CSS in your work, and I have done one. So I'll show you. So before I go back there, explain. Now you can see that I did this inside the head tag, and we told you that it is to have any additional information about the website, right? So we are telling it read this style. By doing this style here, we're telling it read this style first before you go further inside the body, and that's how everything loads together. Now, this type of adding CSS to the body to your page is called internal CSS. That means doing it at the top here inside the head by writing your plain CSS there. That is called internal. Now, then I could possibly come here and do, okay, let's do the classes style, style. Yep, and I want the color to be aquamarine. So when you come here in the P, can you see that P that I touch? Who is it? Takashi Doko. Nice to get that. So can you see that red? Yeah. So the CSS here, doing it in the opening tag is called inline CSS. That is writing it in the opening tag of that element. You are doing inline CSS. If you are writing the CSS in the head tag, you are doing an internal CSS. Then there's one more, which is coming in to create a new file called style.css, right? And let me see, basically carry everything inside here. Okay, I think we have something ID. Let's basically find something that we are giving an ID. Okay, no, that's too far. Too far, too far. Okay, we have a URL. So let's come here and do a URL. Now my URL should have a color of, let's use the li instead. For the li should have a color of, it should have a color of chocolate. Yeah, okay. My URL. Tag it in too. Yeah, Jersey. I'm sorry, I missed the step. So when you do this, you come back to the side. How does your HTML get to know that it is linked to it? Is by using the link. I remember we said something CSS, and I have style.css. Now, you see this link that is bringing in this CSS here. is what we call external CSS. So that's the basic three. Writing the CSS directly inside like this is called internal. Writing it in another file and linking it to the HTML is called external. And writing it directly in the opening tag is called inline CSS. But just like we just explained, you can use inline CSS way more and not use what am I saying? You can use all of them, but there are when to use them. Obviously, it is more to use your external CSS because you don't want to fool your HTML with so much code. See now, just this one I've taken from 7 to 26. So before we see whatever we're doing, we're trying to scroll down. Meanwhile, we could have all of this inside our external file and just have it in one line. So and then for is that where's that? We had it here. For better website performance, you use your external CSS file. Do you understand? So basically that is the three. So now let's read through. We said the external CSS link. The most common method of linking CSS to HTML is through an external style sheet. This approach keeps your HTML and CSS files separate. So for separation of concern, you have them separately and you know where you have issues, you know where to pick them. So which is a best practice for organizing your website code. This CSS file is placed in a separate file with the .css extension. Yeah, that was one mistake I made. When we were doing HTML, we were ending all the file with .html. Now for CSS, you have end it with .css. That is how you create a CSS file. And it is linked to your HTML file using the link. I remember we used the link tag in the head. But we were telling you that the rel was a style sheet. That way we were telling it that the style sheet is that it is from a style. So it knows that it's a CSS. Then the ref was linking it to that particular file that has the style that you want to do. So that is it. And basically that's what we just did. Just linking it like this, and that way you have link an external file in. Now, inline CSS, like I've showed you, is to write it in the opening tag the of the element. It said inline CSS is used to apply style directly to the HTML element using the style attribute. This method is suitable for quick, small changes to a specific element, but it is not recommended for large scale. So with our full length note that we have here, it's advisable not to use inline. And when you are doing a big full website, it's advisable not to use inline. It is there, maybe you just want a quick change on something you want to see, but it's advisable not to use inline. It's not recommended for large scale styling since it makes the HTML code more messy and harder to maintain. So see, we just want to do something for importing and we have this so long and we are trying to scroll through. It makes it so messy. Now, yeah, the style attribute is added directly to the HTML button element to apply the styling. Now, the internal CSS. Like I said, the internal CSS is placed inside the style tag within the head section of the HTML document. It is used when you need to apply style to a single HTML page, but it is less effective than external CSS if the same style are needed across multiple pages. Now, another advantage for external CSS is that when you have more than one page, now we have just in the HTML, or if you have about the HTML, right? And there are some things that is inside index that will be inside about. Instead of now, if you are using internal, that means that style is particular to index, then you have to repeat it again. And one rule of developer is try, do not repeat yourself. So you will do everything possible not to repeat the same code. Now, but if you are using an external CSS file, you just need to link it to that place and it will automatically read the same file. And you just need to write your CSS once. So that way you are not repeating. And that is another advantage of external CSS. So, but these are the three ways of CSS. Now, Why linking CSS is important? Proper linking your CSS to your HTML is essential for maintaining a clean, organized code base and improving website performance. External CSS make it easy to manage style across multiple pages, while internal and inline CSS are better for specific cases. Understanding this method will help you build scalable, effective websites. Now, understanding CSS syntax. He said the CSS is essential for styling web page. To apply style to HTML elements, it is important to know the structure and role of CSS syntax. In this, we'll be doing that. And basically, this is CSS rule. Now, one, the CSS rule. Every CSS style rule contains of two main parts: a selector and a declaration block. A selector defines which HTML element the rule applies to, and the declaration block defines the style to apply to that selected element. It contains or more one or more declaration, each consisting of a property and a value. So basically, this is the structure: selector, a property and a value, and I think I've done that a bit wrong. To explain better, the selector is the H1, which is the element I have picked. Now the declaration box is starting from this open curly brace to the closing bar. Now whatever which is now we said the declaration box defines the style to be applied to the selected element. It contains one or more declaration, each consists of a property and a value. So it contains more than one or more, and which is this. With our H1 we have like three. The property is the color, the value is I want the color to be brown. Another property is text align, where the text should be, and then the value is center. That is basically basic syntax of CSS. Now, for example, in the rule, let's say P and we have it color blue. So P is the selector, color is the property, and blue is the value, like I just explained. Now, the declaration block. The declaration block is wrapped in curly brace and it contains one or more declaration. Each declaration is separated by a semicolon and each declaration consists of a property and a value. Like we have seen, see H1, the font size, 32 pixel, semicolon. Semicolon is telling you that that particular one is, that particular CSS you are done, move to that particular property, move to the next property, which is color. What is color red? Okay, that is the end of it. Move to the next. Text align, center. Oh, okay, that's it. Move to the next. And that is basically it, just the structure. Now, CSS comments. You can add comments in your CSS code to explain what the code does or to make notes for future references. Comments are not displayed. You can do comments in your HTML, so you can do comments in JavaScript. So, comments are not displayed on your web page and are purely for developer understanding. So I recommend to use this. So basically, I can just do comment here and I'm saying this is for each one. Now that is you like comment is basically just to tell the developer or any other developer that this is what you've done here. So sometimes you could have written a lot of code and you've gotten all confused just because you cannot tell where A is in where A. You can use comments to give more details around this is what is happening and this is what is not happening here and like that. Then why understanding CSS syntax is important. If you understand the syntax, you have known it, which is selector and the declaration box. So no matter the selector, it is just the same structure. So if you want to style P, just write P, then the declaration box. You want to style any other thing, as long as just pick the selector and the declaration. So why is CSS syntax is important? Knowing the correct syntax help you write clean, maintainable code that other developer can easily understand. Proper syntax ensures that the style you apply to your element works as expected, making your website visually appealing and consistent. So this is why you need to know your CSS syntax. And as it is, this is where I will be ending today's class. Any question? Anybody? Any question on today? Yeah. Somebody raised his hand and went off. Okay, any question, anybody? You have the ground to ask. Yeah, Nyanu.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you
Good
very
evening,
much for
ma'am.
the class. My question is about animation on website. Is it still part of the CSS or is another form of beautifying the website? And are you going to take us through that too in this CSS tutorial? That's my question.
Mm, Animation is part of CSS, like it is actually, but I don't know if we will get to there. That will be as we go. We will know. But animation is part of CSS because it's still part of your application. But we have other libraries on the outside that makes it easier for you to do animation so that you won't do so much of those stress yourself. But all of this, you won't understand anything if you don't in that part if you don't understand your CSS well. So animation is part of CSS, transition, CSS. These are all CSS properties. Yeah. I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Any question? If none, Yusuf. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Please let me quickly ask this question. There are some cases that, for instance, if you have like P tags, about 4 P tags, and
Yeah.
you want to give a specific CSS styling to maybe one or two of it. Now, if you and it's not really advisable to use inline, and maybe you're using external CSS for everything. How do I now go about what other method or tactics can I use to specify my my styling, my CSS styling for each of the P tags if I don't want to use a combined CSS styling for them? Do you understand my question?
I get your
I
question.
get
A
your
very
question.
good
A
one,
very
and it's like a very crucial thing about CSS. And I know we're going to get there, but let me give you an heads up. Do you remember we did something on class and ID in HTML? Do anybody remember class and ID? That we said we just use it to give something on the name of the element. We're basically not using
yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I can
So
remember that.
this is where we'll be using it. So for each of those p tags now that you want to give different styling and you don't want to basically call all the p tags because you don't want all of them to have the same styling. You use classes or you use the ID. Or we say ID, you can use classes. That way, if it's like two you need to give, the two of them have the same class, they have the same style without touching the rest. You just use classes and ID. You give them those names. You can do on a P, you have a class, and after those class, you can now go to your CSS external file and you define it there. Basically, that's it. So you use classes and ID for exactly what you want to do in that case.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other question? Obed.
Yeah, thank you, ma. Good evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, must you use CSS to style your worksheet? If you will be proficient in HTML, must you use CSS?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Okay, my question is that if you are very proficient in HTML, must you use CSS to style your website?
Hmm. Hmm. It's very obvious you came into the class late today, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Now, so let me explain this again. And I want you to answer these questions for me. When we're doing HTML, we asked some questions, and I said, what makes the human body like the human body?
Yes.
Hmm?
It is the flesh and the
I can't
blood
hear you
and the.
clearly.
I say it is the
No,
flesh
like
and the skin,
no, like the structure. Okay, let me use structure now. What structure the human body?
the bones.
The skeleton. What makes the human body beautiful? What beautifies the human body? Mr. Albert, you're not responding. What beautifies the human body? Can somebody help him out? What beautifies the human body like we have defined in class?
The skin or the flesh.
Yes. Thank you again. So, I don't know if he's here, but you get the recording. So let's just do it. Now, basically, we said the CSS is what beautifies the website. So there is no how proficient you want to be in HTML that you will not need CSS for. There's nothing, there's nobody now that does website that you are just coming with just a plain HTML text. It's not possible. Have you gone online and just see plain HTML text? Even Wikipedia itself, as plain as it is, still has some colors inside for you to highlight it, and it still has some arrangements. So no matter how it is, there is no how you want to be proficient in HTML that you will not need CSS. CSS is basically the main thing you see. It is what you see. What makes Google Meet this way is CSS. What gives all this arrangement? CSS. What makes the aside to be in the side it should be? CSS. What gives each person his own color? CSS. CSS is the main thing. When you don't know HTML, you know CSS self, you sabi work. Do you understand? CSS beautifies your HTML. Your HTML gives you the structure, which is where we say skeleton. There's not how we say the flesh is as fine now. If the skeleton was not there, you won't be able to stand straight or do some things there. So that bone is crucial too. But what beautify it, your flesh there that's cover it, your dress up, another thing. You see, it is just beauty on top beauty. That is what CSS do. Adding one on one, just beautifying it, arranging it, and all that. So I will say this again. No matter how you are so proficient in HTML, you need your CSS. The level of proficiency you have in your HTML is the level of proficiency you should have in your CSS. I hope I've answered that question. Mr. Albert, are you still in this class? Mm. All right. Any other question, please? She said there's no question. Yusuf, over to you.
Actually, I didn't even know that there will be class today. I came, I joined late. It's all right.